Oh, well, what are we doing? I've even got a key so we can lock us all up. Anybody else out here for workshop 3? Starting in 2 seconds, starting in 2 seconds. Yeah. Oh, well. Anybody else coming through the doors? We've got Santa Claus coming down the chimney. What else have we got? Right. Right, I'm going to go now. Welcome to our lecture room 3. Thank you very much to the people who are organising in this place to be able to let me present today to you. I'm very grateful to Alan Baker for letting me have a stall. If you want to know where my stall is, it's 112A, just on the left side as you go through from the main entrance towards the corner of the room. I want to say thanks very much to everybody who's let me have this room and the organisers of the Instructor Show, and I hope everyone's enjoying the show today. I'm Julia Malkin. I've got an MBE from the Queen, which I'm wearing now, just in case everyone's not seen one before. Now I can actually see one in real life. Hooray! So, I'm here to talk to you about a condition called dyscalculia. This is one of the conditions under our Neurodiversity Umbrella. Come in. It's all right. And yeah, there's always one. Making sure everything's okay, no problem. What we're doing is looking at the neurodiverse umbrella first, and then specifying in the dyscalculia condition, which I personally have myself, but I do have qualifications in the field as well. Feel free to ask questions as we go, no problem, because DVSA is after me. They can't hold those up, can we? Oh, of course not. Yep, come in. Yeah, you're right. And yes, yeah, come in. Come in, welcome, you okay? We're only just starting. Have a seat, you okay at the back there? You want to sit down? Plenty of time. Yep, and you know. Okay, right, so the first thing we're learning today, hope this thing's going to work. Yes, it does, well done for that. Is our neurodiversity umbrella with many conditions beneath it. Neurodiversity, a work coined in the 1990s by the autism rights movement, who got sick and tired of people saying that people needing to be cured, and instead thinking to ourselves, we are conditions with people, and the people's conditions are part of who they are. The same as male and female, black, white, Asian, all these different types of people, small and short, different eye colour. We're different kind of people all together, and they're saying, no, it's part of who we are. Don't try to cure us. And it was then when our neurodiversity umbrella was born. There's a lot of people with different conditions. Autism spectrum's the big number one under the umbrella of ADHD. There's a lot of different conditions, and dyscalculia, what we're talking about today, is one of them, but it's one of the least known ones. But it does affect people on the road in different ways, which we're going to go through in today's presentation. I have 5 of those conditions myself: autism, ADHD, dyscalculia, dyslexia, and dyspraxia. So I have 5 conditions myself. By the way, can't get PIP, okay? Wasting your time with that. So I have to be a driving instructor instead. Right. So from the top, we're dealing with something that affects the reasoning and the decoding of number. So anything from your shortest stopping distances, do you have trouble remembering all of those for your theory test? Of course we do. 6% of the UK are formally diagnosed. But that's only a formal diagnosis because it does get mixed up with other conditions as well. 1 in 4 people that are adult have a math anxiety of some kind. Mathematics anxiety. Literally is terrified of having anything to do with numbers. Absolutely terrified of going anywhere near it. To look at it and the equation seems like Chinese writing in a different language, in a different script. It doesn't seem to be everyday English. What is this? Why do they look at it in such a way? I don't know how to do this calculation. I was taught this calculation, I can't remember how to do it. There's so much anxiety in there. The only trouble with dyscalculia is the research is 30 years behind dyslexia. We know a lot about dyslexia now, but we don't know much about dyscalculia. Some people are saying it's the same part of the brain, but it's a different part of the brain in this case. 25% of the neurodiverse people, so if you're on the spectrum or got dyslexia, ADHD or anything like that, there is a very high chance of having dyscalculia as well. But They go to the GP, they go to the school help, and what do they say? Oh, it's because you've got autism. It's part of the dyslexia. It's because you've got something else. Yes, come in. You've got something else as well. Don't worry about it. Oh, it's your autism. It's because you're autistic. That's why I can't do it. Oh, don't worry about that. You've got dyslexia. Of course you can't do the math equations properly. But it's completely different. Many are never diagnosed, that's the thing. But you're going to see them behind the wheel of your car. So the next thing you're thinking about is what part of the brain's affected. And you're dealing with something on the left corner towards your right. And this is a lovely big word for a Sunday afternoon. Left intraparietal sulcus. That's your word for today. You have to go up in the dictionary, you'll find it. No problem. Research says that that part of the brain is the part of the brain that's being affected that's going to cause this condition. It's fantastic, isn't it? To have a look at the brain and thinking to yourself, I know exactly which part of the brain is causing the problem, and it's a different part of the brain to the brain problem that dyslexia is. So, how does it affect your driving? The first thing it does is alter your sense of direction. Many of us get lost, just technically getting lost on the road, not quite knowing where our turn points is, things like that. Yes, feel free to record pictures, notes, pens, papers, iPads. Just go ahead and take as many notes as you wish. That's it, well done. So they kind of have difficulty reading the maps, they have a trouble programming the sat-nav up. Things like this, a sense of direction. Where am I? Where am I going to? Your sequences and routines are going to alter. Traffic lights, red, what comes next? Oh, can't remember. And then the sequences are getting mixed up in the head. And they need to know these sequences 100%, otherwise they're not going to take first time. Motorway studs, which colours are where? They're going to get completely mixed up with that. Now remember, this condition affects different people in different ways. Some who get lost might have no trouble at all with the traffic lights. And some with the traffic lights, thinking everything's going to be okay with those lights, they're the ones that are going to get lost. Time and schedules. Are they ever late for your lesson? Do they misinterpret your lesson time? Do they get confused as to when your lesson is? Do they get the day of the week wrong? Do they get the time of the day wrong? Are they physically late? Do they want a reminder? When's my lesson? That could be a case of dyscalculia. So, decoding. How marvellous things of decoding is, and everybody in here should know what this road sign is. Marvellous, isn't it? But what does the person with dyscalculia physically see when they look at that? And this is why they need special training both on the road and on theory test as well, because what we see isn't necessarily what you're going to see. Think of the different steps and processes you need as drivers to be able to look at this sign and be able to know exactly what it means and how to interact with it. Now that affects you behind the wheel of your car. And we're looking at it in a totally different way. The standard dyscalculia person will look at that. Yes, come in. That's it. You're not allowed to go back because there's no U-turns, okay? So, once you're in, you've got to stay in here. Right. Hi, welcome. Hi, welcome to our Dyscalculia presentation. Just going through decoding at the moment, and the decoding system that we see when we see as typical road signs such as this one. We can distinguish the three colours. Sometimes you have trouble trying to find out which colour is where with dyscalculia. They have a lot of time sometimes trying to realise that they do not, as in negative mandatory. Yes, come in. Somebody got a watch, or is it me now? Right, okay, no problems. I think someone's just turned the clocks back. Now then, let's have a look. So, three colours in our road sign, what we can see here. There's your white, your red, and your black, and some people with dyscalculia get it mixed up. So sometimes they'll see a red ring round it, they'll just about perceive it's a negative mandatory. That means I must not do something. What is it I don't need to do? And then they look at the sign again and think, right, it means do not, because it's got a red ring round it. but then it thinks there's a line through it as well. Is that a double negative? That means it can do it. Great. It's a double negative. That's beautiful, isn't it? What you ain't got to do, what you? So you got to say a double negative like that. And then you're thinking, where am I? In my car, in this sign, and this is where some of them do get lost with their direction, is knowing where your vehicle physically is. You're at just past the 6:30, kind of 25 to 7, that's where your vehicle physically is now. And what it's telling you to not do is to go straight up, turn round to the right and come back down again. We have to do it from left to right because we drive on the left in this country, so it's written from left to right. It goes down from the left towards the right. But where is your car in relation to all this? This is how we perceive this sign to be. So to look at it and say no U-turns can mean something completely different to us. We can say, oh, no U-turns, just about pass a theory test with that. But when we see one on the road, can it apply to the driver when they've got to look at it and think which colour's which? What did it tell me to do? It appears to be double negative, and I'm not quite certain where my car is in relation to all this. And all of that from one very common road sign. Amazing how our brains think and how they react. This is a condition that is permanent. Babies that have it are going to become adults with it, and it's not going to go away. Of course, it can't grow out of it. We don't take pills for it, and children with dyscalculia become adults with dyscalculia. So those cogs are going to turn in our heads about that no U-turn sign throughout the whole of our driving career. We'll need probably a little bit of topping up every now and then and a bit of regular training just to keep us on track with that. So when you're dealing at driving age, if there's no diagnosis done, it doesn't matter. You might see problems. We know that there's something different about us, even though we've never been diagnosed, because we're seeing things in a different way, coding signs and symbols. We can see the signs and symbols as something completely different to the everyday person, as our U-turn sign has just shown us. So when you're dealing with that, you're thinking, has this person ever had any support before in the past? And 99.99 it's no, because it's 30 years research. Remember, it's 30 years behind dyslexia. We're very, very early with this condition. And because it involves science or maths or machinery, engineering, technology, anything in that line, we're terrified of going anywhere near it because we don't understand it. And that piece of engineering could include your vehicle. Be very careful with that. Oh my God, it's scientific, therefore I've got to understand maths to do it, therefore I can't do it. It just goes back and then falls a lovely long chain down the bottom. Our number gap is the first thing we suffer from. The number gap that tells us where am I going and how is my speed actually measured. Because to measure things mathematically, to measure distance, to measure speed, once again, this contributes to us getting lost and losing our sense of direction and our timetable trouble. And this is going to make sure we're thinking to ourselves, don't do this, don't do that. Hesitation. Undue hesitation. Am I going to touch that sat-nav and program it up? Whoa-wee. How do I know which gear I need? 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's manipulation of numbers again. And then fix the ratio, the gear ratio. When do you need to change gear? Something like that is well linked to dyscalculia. Knowing when the gear ratio is, when to do your gear change. The imagination gap's the next problem we're going to get. This is how we interpret our road signs that we were doing earlier. Sign and recognition and effect and action. It's a 4-stage progress in mind of the sign. We see the sign first, so it's physically be seen, perceived. Next thing we have to do is recognise what it is. We've got to decode all those colours and all those symbols in there and thinking, there's my car, and I've got to know what to do. And then we've got to also know what effect it has on the driver, what it represents. There's something about this sign that I need to react to. Big red circle, something I should not do. And then that effect on the driver should make us go one step further and physically take action. We have to go through all these stages without using our imagination to help us. That is why we need support, because we have an imagination gap. And we have to go through each stage, step by step, to form a nice sequence that's programmed into your brain to make it work. The association gap. We've been through our numbers gap. We've been through our imagination gap. And now it's time to go through our association gap. To associate the colours of traffic lights, motorway studs, and road signs, etc. And all the signs and road markings you can see have got to be associated with it. What will show next? That's the anticipation. Many use imagination to get anticipation. We can't do that. Once again, open the file in the head. We program it into our heads. It's fantastic. And then, what is that next colour associated with, which I can be ready for? Am I ready for the next stage in that traffic light sequence? This is what drivers always are doing at the traffic lights. They're thinking which lights are going to go next and getting ready for it. We have to be in the same situation, but we can't use imagination to do it. And we've got to associate not only what we see, but the next sequence in that code with how we're going to plan our drive and be able to react to it. Dare I or dare I not, the massive thing we call pathological demand avoidance, which comes in 4 forms, which I'll tell you all about. This is fantastic stuff, this is. Dare I or dare I not stand on here? Will it take my weight? Dare I or dare I not sit on it? Little things like this. But you imagine if that's your car, and you're trying to think of a situation, dare I go into this junction? Dare I go into this roundabout? You've known your signs. You know roughly what speed you need. You can see the speed limits and translate the numbers. Trying to relate that into ratios of gears. Trying to relate that to what gear you need to your car and back and back. And now we're standing on this cliff edge thinking, shall we go or not? So then we're thinking this cliff edge situation. Past memories can recall, maybe from being a pedestrian or from being a passenger. I know a driver who did this and this happened, that happened. Dare I do it myself when I'm behind the wheel? What's going to happen? Is my driving instructor going to react in time? Because of our imagination gap, we can sometimes have trouble understanding how your driving instructor is going to react to this. In this situation, driving instructors always need to reassure the pupil that they're going to be there regardless of what happens. We're frightened of failing. Some of us are quite perfectionistic. We like to do it properly. Well, like most drivers, are just quite sloppy. We have a look at it and think we want to do it right. Of course we want to do it right. But that can cause avoidance of the situation if we know that we're going to have problems in getting it right. 4 types of pathological demand avoidance you're going to see. The first one's the avoiders that hesitate. They stop, they think, and they freeze. And they will not go any further. And they will not go into that junction. And they're hesitating behind those giveaway lines trying to emerge out of your T-junction. That's where you're going to find the avoiders, having to assess everything they see and the markings and everybody else at the same time with this information raining into their heads, being too much and making them back off. The next one you're going to see is the runners. They jump out of the T-junction at 100 miles an hour because they're frightened to death of waiting too long. Then I saw a person who's just going to jump. I'm frightened of this hazard, the sooner I'm out of it, the better. Off they go. And I think somebody in the room has already seen something like that. Yes. Yeah. That's part of the pathological demand avoidance. They're trying to avoid the situation by being in there for as little time as they possibly can. Let's get in there, get this done, and get the hell out as fast as I can so I can breathe. And sometimes I can literally hold the breath. Jump in there, get out, stay as fast as I can, boom. And then all of a sudden, out, bang, that's it. Whew, I can breathe now. I can relax. So, you get the avoiders and the runners. The next ones are going to get are the hiders. They're the ones that hate being lead car at your stop line because they know they're having to anticipate when the lights are going to change next and they're going to have to go first. And they can almost feel everyone's eyes burning into them at that junction. They are scared, absolutely. Hello, come in. Yeah, Santa Claus is out there wishing a Merry Christmas from me. Right, so then you have people terrified. Oh, wish I was at the back of this queue. I'm absolutely frightened to death. And of course, what happens? Lights change, stall all the way through your junction. Dyscalculia. In case you're wondering who this fellow just turned up, that's my husband over there. Spent about 4 hours in the toilet. Hopefully he's all right now. That's why it's so late. Oh, that's why his watch has stopped. Right. And the fourth type of pathological demand avoidance is disguising. We put on a show. We put on an act. I want to be perfect. I want to do it right. I'm going to go into this junction like everybody else. I'm going to wait for my lights to change, and I'm going to go into absolutely perfectly. Speed's going to be perfect. Observation's going to be perfect. Signals on a good time, and my position when I turn is going to be beautiful. And look, my hands are perfect on the wheel like this, you know. But they can't hold that act for long. About 15 minutes, the whole lot's going to fall apart. And then you're going to get more problems than you started with because you have an extremely tired driver and a lot of mistakes. So pathological avoidance takes 4 forms. 4 forms. Avoidance, I'm not going in there. Runners, I want to get out of it. Hiders, why can't I be at the back? And disguisers, I'm going to put on an act. And they're the 4 things you're going to get. The recognition of numbers themselves when we see them. What is this strange code that everybody else knows as maths? This marvelous coding system that enables us to design and count and be able to construct marvelous machinery is something so alien to us, and we just stand outside and think, how on earth does everybody else do it? It's like magic. Bring the clutch up. The thickness of a pound coin. That's how much you squeeze it. Pound coin, how thick's that? I can't find it. Where's pound coin when I want it? Thickness of your fingernail. Where's the fingernail? Can't find it yet. How do you measure it? Measurements and numbering. Some of us can be, some of us can be quite perfectionistic. I had a person who didn't quite understand the concept when it says that we have to stop 10 meters away from a junction, because otherwise everybody else can't see when they enter and emerge. And what happened when he wanted to do it right? He pulled up his car at the side of the curb, got physically out of the car, and he says, how long's a meter? And now says a meter is roughly in your size, because it's quite a tall, thin lad, and I says, it's from your shoulder right to the tip of your finger. And he goes, out and up, out and up. Never mind the neighbours, never mind anybody else. 10 times up to the junction. Shut up when I'm talking. Right, so he did it 10 times, never mind what everybody else was doing. And he comes back to the car with a massive beam on his face and says, I got it right. I managed to get me 10 meters. I says, good. I says, the next thing to do, get behind the driving seat and see if you can measure from that point where the curb is physically. See if you can see where the curb disappears into the window. We did a lot of work with that to get it gauged up. And once he got it gauged up, that bridged all these gaps. There was no association gap anymore because he knew where it was. There's no imagination gap anymore. He didn't need to do that exercise again. He could find his 10 meters. That had logged in, like a program written into a computer, filed into the brain, and it was fantastic. And every single time he stopped his car, he was able to find his 10 meters. I run courses in all different kinds of special needs. All different sorts, workshops, experiences, in-car courses. So if you get a pupil behind the wheel of your car who has this kind of problem, then you know it can turn to be 112A in the main hall. So you're dealing here with something that I'm going to give you an example of here. And I hope I get all this mic at the same time. One of the conditions associated with dyscalculia can be dyspraxia. Can you know how heavy this can is without even looking inside it? To know how much liquid there is, how far to hold it without dropping it. Because sometimes you find that even the slightest little ease off from the fingers will make it drop. To hold something like this and to be able to squeeze the top, you will know automatically how much pressure to put on it. But sometimes we won't, because you use imagination to be able to know 100% how much there is. What pressure do I need to press here? Can I press a little bit? There we go. If you find one of your pupils behaving very clumsy behind the wheel, a lot of jerky steering, lots of staccato gear changes, lumpy clutch, lumpy handbrakes, and very, very lumpy indicators. In fact, I came across a stage where somebody was trying to change gear and bashed the indicator on by mistake. On the way down, the hand was flying down the wheel, smack went on with the indicator. That could be a dyspraxia case. Dyspraxic people, the condition covers, hello, you okay, you can see the hello. Good evening, yes, okay. Yes, you can, of course you can. But that is a dyspraxia condition. That is what you call gross psychomotor control. There's the fine psychomotor control as well. I can take this lanyard off, but kind of strangle myself in the process. Very difficult to do. A lot of people can pull things right over their heads like that. Once they have it, can they tie a knot in it? This is an exercise to do with pupils a lot when they have a lot of trouble with fine motor control, especially use of signals, and they're bashing the indicator about a lot. Or putting the lights on 100%, far too much. I'll do, put this down here, there you go. One hand to the other hand, and turn again, and round, and open, and through, and pull. And a lot of people will have trouble doing an exercise like that. They've got a lot of problems. Sometimes I do the pens as well. Pens are a good one. Let's see if I've got a pen on me. Let's have a look. I usually have one in here. It's fantastic to do this. I can see everybody else trying this at home when they finish. Let's have a look. Not immediately. Sometimes I have one, sometimes we don't have. But we can do it with keys. To be able to take these keys and to be able to undo this trigger clip. Hold it here, turn it, whoops, there we go. That's dyspraxia coming in there, as you can see. Not quite getting enough psychomotor skill coming in there. Fine skill is to undo it gently without the rest of it falling. To be able to hold, detach, close, and then let go. So a task like that, once we get it, can we hold it between finger and thumb? Can you hold it between the first two fingers? And can you hold it between the second two fingers? And can you hold it between the last two fingers and not let go? And I get them to hang on for a minute. I'm literally counting down 10, 9, 8, and the whole hand's starting to quiver like this. And then I say, right, you got it. Now use the hand that you don't write with. And they're trembling like that, you know. And they're getting it between finger and thumb like that and holding. They can literally see the shakes like that. That's how it's going to be. You'll see it. But some dyspraxic people are going to have more trouble than that because they'll have this condition. Flick it and see what happens. Look, it's completely like rubber. Look at that. Flick the end. Whoops, there you go, and down. And the other one, that's it. Look at that. Woo! He's having some fun with that, isn't it? There you are, the whole lot's like it. That's completely jelly. Look, you can feel it, look. Look. Yeah. Yes? There's nothing in it. Everybody, I knew you'd have it. Come on, everybody. Ooh, let's see if I can do it. Because if they got a condition like that, When they do things like tapping on a computer keyboard, they're not sure how much pressure they put on, so they can get a lot of wear on the skin, things like this. So holding the wheel can be a bit difficult as well. Putting indicators on can be. That's fine motor control. Coordination. And of course the whole lot's doing it. Okay? Everything will do it except the thumb. The thumb's got 2 digits and the rest of them have got 3, and that's why everybody else still doing it over there. Still a few hands going around. I can still see some hands. I can still see it. I'm going to be doing this all day, aren't you? Just doing it over your dinner, and everybody else saying, "What? What on earth is that?" But things like foot control, you're going to find foot control to be a bit difficult. And I always say to people, learn to do the emergency stop when you're standing up. Are you ready? 1, 2. 1, 2. So you got the right amount of timing between when the brake goes down and when your clutch goes down. 1, 2. So you can do it out of your car to get the coordination right, because the feet are all over the place when they're first trying to do that one. That's how dyspraxia works. We have some marvellous bits of kit up here. This is fantastic, isn't it? I mean, look at all these numbers on here. Blue, green, grey, blue. Blue, green, blue. Got to remember that. They get all mixed up when they try to say it. Hold it. Try to remember it again. Green. What was it again? They'll get lost. Trying to remember it. Just like your set of traffic lights. Just like where to turn your indicators to turn them on. That's where they're going to get stuck. And they get stuck completely. Right, does anybody have any questions? Any pupils I can help with here? Oh yes, there's somebody in the audience. Anything at all? You let me know.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a lady, she's actually from Saudi, so her English isn't great and my Saudi is 0. And she has been with me for about a year. I'm her 3rd instructor, and just getting her to move her feet, her legs, her arms in a coordinated way to be safe without me having to actually intervene has been about a year.
About a year?
She's...
Whereabouts is she with the training at the moment?
Sorry?
Whereabouts?
She's got to...
What's she doing?
Well, I'm in and out of junctions. I've got her now just to get to 3rd gear, but even trying to go to 3rd gear, but just keep practicing. And she only has 1 lesson a week, which in London is... No. So...
Manual or auto?
Manual.
Yeah.
But her husband wants her to drive, and he's got a manual car, so she's got...
Oh, so he wants her to do manual.
Yeah.
Because an auto's probably going to be easier.
Yeah. But she's patient, and I'm patient, but it's just taking a very long time.
Right. So the first thing to remember is that everything that you're doing is writing a program in the head. Think of it like programming a machine. If she has had other instructors might be saying different things. I'll give you an example of this problem and how to fix it. I once had a pupil that came to me who I was the 6th instructor of. Every time she came to a T junction, she'd automatically stall at this particular junction. Nothing to do with the traffic, I ruled that out. Nothing to do with observation and visibility, it happened in all weather conditions, and it wasn't my car, nothing like that at all. What was it? It was what her previous instructor was saying to her. So this is how we got rid of it. The first thing to find out is how that the instructor's speaking to that person. So we turn to the junction again, and while we're slowly creeping up to turn right, I say, can you hear what is happening in your head? Can you hear in your head? And she says, yes, I can. I can hear in your head. I says, is it a voice? She says, yes. I says, who's talking to you? She says, my instructor. I says, what's your instructor saying? And it says, it's saying, hurry up, what are you doing? Hang on, what are you waiting for? Go on. I thought, oh, no wonder she's stalling into that T-junction. Whoa. So something like that could be playing back in your person's head. So you need to write a new DVD on that one.
I think also
Yeah?
She said to me that
I'll teach you how to do it.
crashed the car several
Or trauma as well, yeah.
She's got a lot of
Post-trauma, yeah, as we were talking about earlier, yeah. Experiences as a passenger, yeah, as we mentioned prior, that could exacerbate the condition. Too late, mate. Sorry, the doors are locked right now. So, at that point, this is how I rewrote that particular incident I was talking about, so it gives you a few ideas, okay? Remember, she's coming up to this T-junction, and she can hear the words of her old instructor saying to her, "Hurry up, come on, what are you waiting for?" I said to her, "Have you taken your theory test yet?" She says, "No." I says, "Why not?" She goes, "You're ready, you know, take it, and driving's doing good." She says, "I haven't got time to practice it." And I says, "Well, come on then, hurry up, what are you waiting for?" And of course she burst out laughing. She started to laugh because all of a sudden that phrase had now become a joke. And every time she mentioned the theory test, I said the same phrase again. So, "Have you done that theory practice yet?" "No." "Well, hurry up then, what are you waiting for? Come on." So next time she went to the T-junction, I'd always taken that instruction out of the head and set the head up elsewhere. That wouldn't ring, because that's linked to the theory test now, and that's a joke. So the next thing I did was to rewrite it. You go in there and open a new folder marked "How to do this T-junction." And I then have to do it for full talk through to make sure it records straight into the head, telling her exactly what to do, make sure the junction's right first time with no problems, which it was. And then to go back on the same T-junction, I says, "Would you like me to help me with a bit of prompts?" "No, I'm going to be all right." I says, "Right, to go ahead. Get into trouble. Do you want any help?" She says, "Yes, please." I says, "Right, go ahead." Takes the T-junction straight away with no trouble. So that fault was fixed in a matter of about 10 minutes. So listen to what your pupil says. It could be something in the head, registering. Let them talk about what is happening in that head. See if you can redirect it elsewhere and set that head up again. Because that's what I did. Now, it might have been a simple little T-junction, but it meant the world to her. I had a similar one in a mini roundabout who honestly couldn't take this right turn because there's traffic all over the place, so I talked her through it. Had 3 other instructors try, couldn't do it. And all of a sudden, she took the roundabout, and I couldn't believe what happened next. She took her hands off the wheel and goes, "Hooray!" And I went, "Whoa, whoa." And I went crap like this. "Oh, I'm sorry. Don't worry about it, you did it, that's the main thing." Just forgot completely where she was. Very dangerous having that behind the wheel of your car. So is that any help to you? You think that's going to help you out? Yeah? Right. Oh, prevention is difficult. Right, it's the English. Yeah, get her to speak it out. And speak out. Pull in, pull her in, pull her in for that. Get to the bottom of the problem, that's the most important thing. It definitely needs some sorting. Keep practicing, keep going. Be patient, hold on, doesn't matter about anything else. Yeah. Right.
Down to second, keeping the car rolling and
Right.
banging a brake on and
Yeah.
stopping in the middle.
Have you tried a 3-2-1 count on it?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, break. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
coordination.
It's when you got to do it. Take your time with that. That means timing points. Because planning is wrong, and that's why it's at the last minute. Yeah. Put some time points on. Try that. Yeah. Right, anybody else with any pupils? Marvellous people, aren't they, pupils? If you need anything, I'm at this stall 112A. Hello. Good evening. You come to see our meeting? That's one for the DVLA. He's next, isn't he? Right, any final questions before we're going to wind up? Yes, sir. I hope this microphone still works out here. Yeah.
So I have a daughter
Right.
with Canner's condition, so I've got like
Oh, right.
experience
Yeah.
in this. So obviously
Okay.
she's
Yeah.
never going to be able to do. But I also have a couple of pupils with dyslexia.
Right.
What I find is they're absolutely fantastic and brilliant once they, as you say, once they get it, they understand.
As soon as they get it logged straight in, record playback. Yeah.
You save 10 lessons.
It does, doesn't it? Oh, the timing just goes, yeah.
But how does somebody like myself or any of us
Yeah.
help you to get the DVSA
Right.
to change the way
Oh,
you
how many
think
times have
really?
I tried that? Oh, I know the time. Yeah.
Because there comes
Is there a
up
wall
next
round here I can
people-
talk to? Because that would save a job. Yeah.
Well, I'm
I'm going to talk to a wall. It's easier. Yeah.
But
Oh, it's terrible, isn't it? Yeah.
as an industry,
Yeah.
because I've
Right.
got this lassie, beautiful driver, she's as good as anybody else that's passed the test,
Yeah.
but she cannot get through the theory because even the way with the headphones and everything, she's still, it's not...
Usual stuff. Do you know that I went up to the DVSA office back in 12 to rewrite all the theory test material because it was failing so much it failed the Equalities Act?
Yeah.
I had to go up there and help write the material out. Didn't get paid for it. Of course not. But I was up there for 2 days helping them out. That's when the questions were reduced. It was all 1 question from 4. In the old days, it was 2 from 5, 3 from 6. It stopped all that.
Yeah.
That was me stopping it. I've done a lot of things with that. But will they listen to this? That's the thing.
It needs to
Yeah.
change.
Oh, it does need to change. No question about that. What I'm doing later on in the year is doing a video training course to help with theory prep, but it's not a standard theory training as you know it. It's to bring people right from the start up to knowing the road and all about the road, right from pedestrian level, cycle level, bringing them up to driving level, which will be 100% dyslexia, autism, dyspraxia, ADHD and everything else friendly. One of the video courses of practical driving is just being written and will be out in June. First few lots have already been edited, all the video work's been done, 85 scripts I've written myself. I spent all January and February writing 3,600 words a week, which is a PhD grad, it's been used to doing.
Yeah. Can we
But it's that
contribute
kind
to
of
that?
thing. Yeah.
Can we help contribute to that? Because that takes time, that takes effort.
Oh, it does. Every single ounce of contribution, yeah. Alan Baker on the new driver training. He's in charge, you speak to him.
Right.
And then there's my stall 112A, you come and have a word with me. Okay, right, it's nearly 1:45. I want to thank everybody for coming here and take our website and anything else. See me at 112A. Thank you very much for your time. It's good to see you. Thank you.
TotalDrive is an award-winning driving instructor app for independents, multi-schools, pupils and parents. The app includes a powerful diary, free lesson reminders, progress records, reflective logs and more. TotalDrive is proven to help instructors earn more, work smarter and improve pupil pass rates. If you're a driving instructor, you need to try TotalDrive by starting your completely free 30-day trial at www.totaldrive.co.uk.